At the flower feast, the tension between Shi Qingluo and Ji Chunru reaches a boiling point. Shi Qingluo uses her sharp tongue to dismantle Ji Chunru's dignity, mockingly calling her little lady Ji and highlighting her status as a mere concubine to the amusement of the surrounding ladies. Sensing the overwhelming contempt of the noblewomen, Ji Chunru makes a hasty and suspicious exit to the garden. Second Madam, the host, arrives to greet the guests, noting the peculiar absence of the general's wife who has already wandered off. Unbeknownst to the others, a scheme is unfolding in the shadows. Zhang Tengfeng receives a secret note directing him to a secluded area, intending to trap Xiao Bailey in a compromising situation to ruin her reputation, completely unaware that his own fate is being woven into the trap. Expecting to find his target, Zhang Tengfeng lunges at a woman under a pear tree, only to find himself entangled with Ji Chunru instead. As he kisses her in a daze, the unsuspecting ladies and Second Madam stumble upon the scandalous sight. The intimate encounter is cut short by the shocked crowd. Ji Chunru, realizing the catastrophe, instantly shifts the blame, claiming she was molested, while Zhang Tengfeng desperately tries to defend himself by accusing her of seduction. Chaos deepens as Zhang Tengfeng produces a note as evidence of Ji Chunru's invitation. Despite her frantic denials, the ladies present recognize her handwriting, leaving her exposed and caught in her own web of deceit. Shi Qingluo seizes the narrative, dissecting Ji Chunru's desperate lies. With logic and sarcasm, she highlights the absurdity of Ji Chunru's claims that she is being framed, forcing Zhang Tengfeng to confirm he was invited to the rendezvous. When Ji Chunru attempts to implicate Xiao Bailey to save herself, Shi Qingluo's fury explodes. She delivers several sharp slaps, physically punishing Ji Chunru for her malice and refusing to let her poison the reputation of the innocent. Shi Qingluo maintains her relentless attack, pinning Ji Chunru down with her own previous actions and reputation. The crowd begins to turn completely against the disgraced woman, as the evidence of her affair with Zhang Tengfeng becomes undeniable. Shi Qingluo continues to dismantle Ji Chunru's weak excuses regarding the supposed marriage matchmaking. Xiao Hanzheng observes the scene, unbothered by the criticism of his wife's ferocity, instead finding her bold defense of his sister endearing and necessary. Scholar attempts to condemn Shi Qingluo's harsh treatment of a lady, but is quickly silenced by Zai Rui and Liang Yaoxiao. They aggressively defend her actions, mocking the scholar for his misplaced sympathy toward such a scandalous woman. Shi Qingluo successfully paints Ji Chunru as a wretched woman with a blackened heart. As she questions the integrity of the general's household, the onlookers realize the depth of the scandal, leaving the disgraced duo with nowhere to hide. Shi Qingluo issues a final, chilling threat to Ji Chunru, promising to take the matter to the general if she ever dares to target Xiao Bailey again. Zhang Tengfeng, now fully aware of the danger, attempts to distance himself from the situation entirely. Out of options and facing public ruin, Ji Chunru resorts to her final trick, pretending to faint. Shi Qingluo is not fooled for a second, openly calling out the charade to the amusement of the disgusted observers. The flower feast is permanently marred by the scandal. Second Madam, having seen enough, orders the unconscious Ji Chunru removed from the premises immediately. The incident ends with Ji Chunru's reputation in tatters, a victim of her own twisted schemes. The flower feast turned into a spectacle of scandal, as the social elite whispered about the unauthorized and disgraceful appearance of the disgraced scholar, Zhang Tengfeng. Inside the carriage, the couple plotted their next move, relishing the news that the scumbag father, Xiao Yuanxi, was about to receive an explosive surprise about his new wife's infidelity. In the remote manner, the illusion of peace was shattered. Xiao Yuanxi's world darkened when he learned that his wife had been caught in a compromising embrace, turning him into the laughingstock of the capital. Betrayed by his own pride and his wife's vanity, Xiao Yuanxi made the grim decision to return to the capital, realizing that the scandal had left him with no choice but to face the humiliation head-on. Xiao Yuanxi returned to the capital, his heart filled with a mixture of anger and regret. With Tao Liu by his side, he prepared to face the woman who had brought shame upon his name. Upon entering the courtyard, the confrontation was immediate and brutal. Xiao Yuanxi was greeted by the sight of his wife, her appearance bearing the visible marks of the scandal, sparking an instant fury. Ji Chunru attempted to plead her innocence, claiming she had been framed, but Xiao Yuanqi saw through her lies, exposing her failed schemes to ruin his own daughter, Xiao Bailey. Driven to the edge by his wife's lack of remorse and their ruined reputation, Xiao Yuanqi delivered the final blow, confining her to the courtyard and declaring that he was utterly finished with her antics. Confined to her quarters, Ji Chunru turned to feigned piety, copying scriptures in an attempt to buy her husband's forgiveness, though her true nature remained hidden beneath the ink. As the capital buzzed with the latest rumors of his father's domestic ruin, Xiao Hanzheng remained unshaken, directing his focus solely on the court examinations, where his intellect truly shone. Under the watchful eyes of the emperor, Xiao Hanzheng wrote his policies with ease, avoiding the political traps laid out by the aristocratic families, proving his worthiness as the top candidate. With the examinations concluded, Shi Qingluo and Xiao Bailey prepared to visit the general's residence, bearing the weight of evidence that would force Xiao Yuanqi into a corner. Within the confines of the study, the confrontation was sharp. Xiao Bailey presented the evidence of the conspiracy, demanding compensation for the psychological trauma caused by the general's wife. With her trademark audacity, Shi Qingluo twisted the blade, threatening to take the case to the emperor if their demands were not met, leaving the general with no room to maneuver. Seizing the opportunity to drive a wedge between the sisters, Shi Qingluo suggested that the general squeeze funds from his sister-in-law, a path Xiao Yuanqi decided to follow with ruthless efficiency. Returning to his wife, Xiao Yuanqi wore a mask of cold duty. He presented the demand for 50,000 taels of silver, watching as the shock and greed played across Ji Chunru's face. Faced with the threat of imprisonment, Ji Chunru scrambled for solutions, ultimately suggesting the sale of the family's assets, a move that only deepened the general's growing disdain for her. The deal was set, but the trust was permanently fractured. As Xiao Yuanqi walked away, the seeds of future ruin were sown, leaving the two trapped in a marriage that had become a battlefield. Xiao Hanzheng and Shi Qingluo unraveled the latest scheme from the Xiao residence, realizing the scumbag father is playing a dangerous game by forcing his current wife to manipulate Ji Chunning. Following an invitation to admire flowers, Xiao Hanzheng sets out to test his growing suspicions regarding the enigmatic scholar Zhuo Jun. At the Pear Garden banquet, the atmosphere is polite yet filled with tension. Xiao Hanzheng's keen senses detect an unexpected and oddly feminine scent lingering on his acquaintance, deepening his doubt. Observation becomes a silent duel. Xiao Hanzheng notes the subtle, blushing reactions and delicate hands of Zhuo Jun, traits that seem starkly out of place for a man. A clumsy fall provides the perfect cover. In a flash of decisive action, Xiao Hanzheng reaches out to support Zhuo Jun, using the opportunity to confirm the anomaly he suspected. When questioned about concubines, Xiao Hanzheng unashamedly declares his undying devotion to his wife, leaving the others stunned by his uncharacteristic lack of interest in tradition. Under the guise of friendly banter, Xiao Hanzheng interrogates Fang Zhijun, piecing together the strange circumstances of Zhuo Jun's past and the secrecy surrounding his solitary life. As the wine flows, Zhuo Jun's composure cracks, revealing an unsettling level of obsession that only reinforces Xiao Hanzheng's resolve. Zhuo Jun dismissively insults his wife. Xiao Hanzheng abandons all pleasantries, declaring a complete end to their association and sending shockwaves through the group. Returning to his wife, Xiao Hanzheng shares the shocking truth discovered during the banquet. The delicate scholar Zhuo Jun is, in fact, a woman in disguise. They deliberate on the implications. A woman infiltrating the imperial examinations is no small feat, suggesting a motive far more complex and dangerous than a simple ruse. With no clear explanation for such a perilous deception, the couple begins to suspect that the identity of this mysterious scholar may be tied to greater historical secrets. The day of judgment arrives. Amidst the grandeur of the imperial hall, Xiao Hanzheng stands resolute, awaiting the results that will solidify his future. The emperor's decision is clear. Xiao Hanzheng is proclaimed the top scorer, a triumph that serves as a painful, public reminder of the mistake his father made by severing their ties. Cheers erupt as the handsome new top scholar parades through the city, his reputation now cemented, even as he quietly plots to expose the secret identity of the third-place finisher. With the ceremonies concluded, the time for secrets is nearing an end. Xiao Hanzheng prepares to navigate the treacherous political waters to reveal the truth about Zhuo Jun to the throne. With the city abuzz over the new top scholar, the public eyes are fixed on Xiao Hanzheng. While many noble families harbor secret ambitions for the young prodigy, they are held back by the fearsome reputation of his sharp-tongued and capable wife, Shi Qingluo. Amidst the parade, a unique gesture of love unfolds. Shi Qingluo tosses a handmade purse, adorned with an unconventional embroidery of a goose, which Xiao Hanzheng deftly catches and immediately wears, sealing their public display of affection. The day is far from over. Zai Rong arrives with a mysterious plan, whisking Shi Qingluo away to the southern marquis residence, hinting at a surprise that will finally complete the bond between the couple. Behind the closed doors of the manor, a heartfelt secret is revealed. Xiao Hanzheng has spent months preparing a proper wedding ceremony to honor his wife, ensuring that this time, their union is celebrated with the splendor it deserves. Defying tradition, Xiao Hanzheng arrives to claim his bride, and instead of a sedan chair alone, he offers to carry Shi Qingluo himself. Their deep connection is visible to all who watch the grand procession. Back at the Xiao residence, the couple completes their rites. With Mother Xiao witnessing their union, the make-up wedding serves as a beautiful testament to their journey from strangers brought together by fate to soulmates choosing each other. Though the night is supposed to be private, the mischievous Zai Rui and his friends insist on traditional toasts and antics. Xiao Hanzheng reluctantly heads out to host his guests, promising his wife a return to their quiet celebration soon. As the moon rises, the festivities finally fade. Xiao Hanzheng enters their chamber, having cleverly avoided the drunkenness of his guests to ensure their first true wedding night remains perfect. The morning after brings a tender moment as the couple serves tea to Mother Xiao, cementing their new beginning with warmth and familial grace, free from the burdens of traditional expectations. The piece is brief, for duty calls. Xiao Hanzheng discovers a startling secret. A fellow scholar is not who they appear to be, and promptly reports this suspicious find to the emperor, proving his loyalty and sharp insight. The emperor, impressed by Xiao Hanzheng's competence, hints at a future assignment to the northern border. Aware of the looming threat of King Jin, Xiao Hanzheng pledges his absolute dedication to the crown's service. Back at home, the atmosphere shifts to innovation. Zai Rui arrives with the first fruits of their rubber venture, durable, comfortable shoes. The excitement is palpable as they brainstorm the next big project, the bicycle. With the promise of engineering support from their circle of friends, Shi Qingluo begins drafting the plans for a bicycle. It is a collaborative effort to bring modern convenience to an ancient capital, much to the excitement of her peers. The innovation quickly spreads through the Zai household. Old Master Zai finds himself delighted by the practical utility of the rubber-soled shoes, which keep his feet dry and sturdy regardless of the terrain. On a rainy day, Old Master Zai arrives at the morning court with a hidden agenda. He flaunts his dry footwear, drawing the envious and curious gazes of his fellow ministers who struggle through the mud. The court session becomes an impromptu showcase for the new invention. Old Master Zai basks in the attention, relishing the moment his peers realize that his grandson's gift has made him the most prepared man in the hall. Victory is sweet, and Old Master Zai does not miss the chance to tease Old Master Liang about the lack of such footwear in his own household. The rivalry between the elders continues, fueled now by rubber and vanity. The capital is abuzz with the talk of rubber-soled shoes. Old Master Zai finds himself in the spotlight, basking in the envy of his peers, while Old Master Liang and Old Master Kai struggle to hide their resentment, waiting impatiently for their own supplies to arrive. 10 days later, the first bicycle emerges from the workshop. Shi Qingluo shows the skeptical young masters of the capital that this strange iron contraption is a revolution in transportation, moving with speed and grace. The young noblemen take turns, each trying to master the delicate balance of the bike. Zai Rui, ever the enthusiast, is the first to learn, his excitement turning into a desperate desire to own one and show it off to the world. Recognizing the massive potential for profit, the group decides to form a business partnership. Liang Yaoxiao agrees to manage the mechanics workshop, with the others pooling their influence and rubber supplies to ensure the venture thrives. As the sun sets, Xiao Hanzheng returns home and tries the bicycle for himself. He masters the mechanism with surprising ease, and he and Shi Qingluo share a quiet moment, envisioning trips taken together on their new invention. The production accelerates, and soon the young aristocrats are riding their sleek bicycles through the capital. They have become the trendsetters of the city, turning heads and sparking a feverish desire in everyone who sees them. High above the bustling streets, Liang Hengxiao and Liang Hengyu watch the spectacle. The brothers realize that the humble bike has become the most coveted item in the capital, prompting a quick decision to seek one out for themselves. Upon returning home, Zai Rui finds his arrival met with an unusual crowd. Old Master Zai and the family elders are waiting, not to scold, but to inspect the mysterious metal beast that has captured the capital's imagination. Faced with the pressure of the family patriarch, Zai Rui has no choice but to provide a demonstration. Old Master Zai proves that determination and experience can master any challenge, as he sets his heart on claiming the bike as his own. The inevitable happens. Old Master Zai shamelessly claims the bicycle, declaring it a gift of filial piety. Zai Rui is left empty-handed, watching as his grandfather instructs his servants to move the precious bike to the main courtyard. The cycle of demands continues as Zai Zhenheng also insists on his own bicycle. Zai Rui realizes that his status as a trendsetter has become a burden, forced to appease his father's demands just to catch a moment of rest. Across the city, the young noblemen share the same fate. Whether it is Liang Yaoxiao or Kai Yiyang, the elders have swooped in to confiscate their bicycles. The young men are left hungry and tired, their dreams of a quiet ride shattered by their families. The next morning, the palace court becomes a stage for the elders' vanity. The three old dukes park their bicycles and engage in a contest of feigned humility and blatant showing off, annoying the other ministers who are still arriving by carriage. Observing from his throne, the emperor is both amused and wary. While the old men act like children, the real weight of the state rests on his shoulders. He formally appoints Xiao Yuanqi to the northern border, a move laden with danger and high stakes. Xiao Yuanqi accepts his dangerous assignment, knowing full well the risks of crossing King Jin. Upon returning to his residence, he visits Ji Chunru, who remains trapped in a cold silence, their household filled with hidden resentments and unspoken tension. As the morning sun illuminates the capital, the scene outside the court symbolizes a shift in times. The old order of horse-drawn carriages is interrupted by the glint of iron wheels, signaling that the influence of Shi Qingluo and her friends has reached the very heart of the empire. Ji Chunru, suppressing her hatred and resentment, plays the role of the dutiful, gentle wife to Xiao Yuanqi. Despite her inner turmoil over being sidelined, she forces a smile, knowing that following him to the northern border is her best path forward. The facade of calm is shattered when Xiao Yuanqi reveals that Tao Liu has been pregnant for 5 months. Ji Chunru struggles to maintain her composure, her heart boiling with rage as she realizes she has been kept in the dark and effectively replaced. Though she despises the child Tao Liu carries, Ji Chunru adopts a submissive demeanor, convincing Xiao Yuanqi that she is a supportive wife. With permission to visit her sister one last time, she plots her future, determined not to let this setback be her end. Xiao Hanzheng and Shi Qingluo dissect the motives behind Xiao Yuanqi's new appointment. They see clearly that he is being sent on a dangerous, potentially futile mission, and they prepare to watch the coming fallout with cold satisfaction. They analyze the toxic dynamic between Ji Chunru and her sister, Ji Chunying. The sisters' desperate attempts to fund each other through scams and manipulation only amuse Shi Qingluo, who views them as pawns in their own self-destruction. As Ji Chunru travels to see her sister, the sound of the city irritates her. Mention of the latest innovation, the bicycle, another product of Shi Qingluo, only deepens her jealousy and fuels her hatred toward the couple. Her servant girl, hearing praise for the new technology, finds Ji Chunru's dismissive arrogance short-sighted. The divide between the embittered mistress and the rest of the world grows, as Ji Chunru remains trapped in her cycle of spite. Upon arriving at the prince's residence, Ji Chunru finds Ji Chunying in a state of feigned misery. The sisters share a moment of performative grief, with Ji Chunying weaving a story of abuse to manipulate her sister's emotions. Guilt-ridden and desperate to support her sister, Ji Chunru promises to be the financial provider once she secures power at the northern border. Ji Chunying, however, views her sister's desperation with calculated disdain. Their conversation turns to their brother, and Ji Chunru clings to the hope of finding him at the northern border. Beneath the surface, Ji Chunying reflects on the burden her sister has become, secretly resenting the trouble she has caused. The bond of blood is stretched thin by convenience and necessity. As they finalize their plans, Ji Chunying already prepares to wash away the physical contact of the encounter, highlighting the hollowness of their sisterly devotion. Ji Chunying coldly instructs her sister on how to weaponize affection. By lovingly spoiling the child, they can ensure its failure, turning a potential threat into an instrument of destruction. In a final act of desperation and misguided loyalty, Ji Chunru gifts her own jewelry to Ji Chunying. The exchange solidifies their dependency, as Ji Chunru prepares to leave for the northern border with even less than she began with. Zhao Yuanqi, ever watchful, uncovers the transfer of his assets through his wife. His frustration mounts as he realizes he must control his own household more strictly before they depart for the frontier. The journey begins, and the disparity between the concubine's comfort and the wife's misery is stark. Ji Chunru watches Tao Liu enjoy the benefits of Shi Qingluo's invention, sharpening her resolve to remove her rival once and for all. Summoned to the palace, Xiao Hanzheng faces the emperor, who confirms that the target of their suspicion, Zhuo Jun, is actually the illegitimate daughter of King Jin. The stakes of the mission to the northern border rise significantly. Xiao Hanzheng probes the emperor's information, pointing out the inconsistencies in Zhuo Jun's behavior. He argues that a trained agent of King Jin would not lose control over their identity so easily, suggesting a deeper, hidden agenda at play. Seeing the logic in Xiao Hanzheng's analysis, the emperor agrees to confront the mystery directly. They prepare to bring Zhuo Jun into the palace, hoping to unmask the true motive behind the daughter of King Jin's calculated exposure. Inside the isolated study of the Zhuo residence, Zhuo Jun drinks alone, her eyes fixed on the inevitable. She knows the secrets she harbors make her a target for the throne, and when the masked assassins arrive, she does not resist, but instead embraces her fate as they whisk her away into the night. Brought before the emperor, Zhuo Jun sheds the veil of her double life. She stands before the ruler of Dalian, ready to confess a truth that could shake the foundations of the empire. A story of blood, betrayal, and a mother who served the remnants of a fallen dynasty. The tale is dark and twisted. Zhuo Jun reveals that King Jin has been colluding with the princess of the previous dynasty and the kingdom of Ji. The emperor is left stunned by the scale of the conspiracy, realizing his own brother has been weaponizing the bloodline of the fallen to orchestrate a coup from the shadows. Betrayal cuts deep, but the game of wits has only just begun. Zhuo Jun produces a hidden treasure map, the missing piece to a puzzle that King Jin and the princess of the previous dynasty have been hiding for years, proving their grand scheme for rebellion hinges on a fortune long buried. The emperor realizes he has found unexpected allies in Xiao Hanzheng and Shi Qingluo. Their sharp instincts and quick reporting brought Zhuo Jun to justice. Zhuo Jun admits she deliberately sought them out, knowing they were the only ones clever enough to navigate this deadly web. Beyond revenge, Zhuo Jun has a simple, desperate request: freedom. She has lived under the crushing weight of a false identity, wearing the armor of a man when her heart belongs to the life of a woman. She pledges her loyalty to the emperor, hoping that once the traitors are felled, she can finally shed her mask. The final blow to King Jin's plan comes in the form of a list, the names of his moles within the imperial court. The emperor looks upon the betrayal in black and white, knowing he must now act with surgical precision to root out the rot that has spread into his own government. A dangerous mission is born. Xiao Hanzheng and Zhuo Jun are ordered to enter the heart of the enemy's den. They must feign defection to King Jin and head to the northern border, acting as double agents to dismantle the conspiracy from within. The emperor demands the truth. Can these turncoats be trusted? Xiao Hanzheng acknowledges the danger, advising the ruler that while Zhuo Jun's testimony is compelling, every word must be verified. The stakes are total war. If they fail, the nation falls. With a heavy burden of secrets, Xiao Hanzheng is escorted out of the palace under the cover of darkness. The plan is set. They will lead the enemy into a false sense of security, hoping to force King Jin into a disastrous error before the rebellion can truly ignite. Back in the safety of their home, the tensions of the palace melt away in the company of their unique guardian, the goose dummy. Watching the noble bird strut about, Shi Qingluo and Xiao Hanzheng share the weight of the coming storm, preparing for their departure to the northern border. The night air is thick with the weight of the emperor's mission. Xiao Hanzheng recounts the harrowing details of his palace audience, and Shi Qingluo contemplates the tragic history of the late emperor, whose indulgence of King Jin created the very monster they must now destroy. To secure their future and the prosperity of the state, Shi Qingluo makes a bold decision. They will present the revolutionary formula for glass to the emperor, a gift to strengthen the national treasury, and a move to ensure they have the most powerful ally in the land by their side. Strategizing with a master's touch, the couple plots how to leverage the glass formula. By framing the offer as a divine dream and a patriotic act, Shi Qingluo will win the emperor's favor, while also creating a smokescreen to make their upcoming defection to the northern border look like a calculated move of temptation. Even in their own home, vigilance is paramount. Dummy and his loyal flock of geese make short work of an infiltrator, proving to be better sentinels than any human guards. This act of avian defense serves as a reminder that Shi Qingluo's home is a fortress, even from the unseen prying eyes of the court. A letter arrives from the harsh northern frontier, bearing shocking news. Third son, she has finally severed ties with Madame Niu. After a harrowing incident involving a deputy general and the attempted trafficking of third daughter Shi, the family has reached its breaking point. Justice of a cold sort prevails as Madame Niu is sentenced to hard labor in the very same mines that house Ji Chunni. The tangled web of family and greed finally snaps, leaving the couple to contemplate the chaos they are soon to enter at the edge of the world. The shadows of the past linger, but for Shi Qingluo and Xiao Hanzheng, the focus is on the future. They discuss the bitter reality of Madame Niu and the choices made by third son Shi, finding that their own path remains clear despite the surrounding chaos. The emperor, ever the strategist, receives word of a new formula from Shi Qingluo. He sees more than just wealth in the glass-making secret. He sees a chance to fortify his nation and test the loyalty of those around him. Guided by Zai Rong, the couple approaches the heart of power. They carry the blueprint for a future that will change the landscape of the empire, unaware of the eyes watching their every step from the shadows. In the cold corners of the city, Zhuo Jun weighs her allegiances. With orders pressing down upon her, she is forced to play a dangerous game of deception, her hands trembling as she decides the fate of those she has been ordered to ensnare. Inside the palace walls, Shi Qingluo unveils the secrets of glass. The emperor, surrounded by his curious court, weighs her contribution, knowing that this simple act will ripple through the halls of power. The reward is swift and deliberate. By elevating Mother Xiao, the emperor sends a silent, sharp message to his rivals, a calculated political chess move disguised as a standard imperial favor. As predicted, the court descends into discord. Minions of King Jin push for the exile of our heroes to the northern border, triggering a fierce debate that masks the deeper, more dangerous undercurrents of the empire. Seeing the trap laid for Xiao Hanzheng, allies scramble to intervene. But the court is thick with treachery, and the whispers of the conspirators threaten to drown out the voices of those who wish for justice. With a stroke of genius, the emperor turns the tables. He accepts the suggestion to send the top graduates north, but adds a condition that strikes terror into the hearts of the schemers, a cost they never anticipated. The trap snaps shut. Those who clamored loudest for the northern post now find their own heirs destined for the harsh frontier. The silence in the court is heavy with their sudden, bitter realization. Back at the residence, Zai Rui learns of his impending fate. His father and grandfather, seeing opportunity in the turmoil, resolve to sharpen the boy in the crucible of the northern lands. In the quiet of the garden, wisdom prevails over sentiment. The elders see the chessboard for what it truly is, a chance to survive, grow, and eventually thrive in the shadow of impending war. Desperation sets in as Zai Rui realizes his life of leisure is over. Yet, his family holds firm. To them, this journey is not a punishment, but a necessary molding of character in an era of shifting tides. Across the city, other families wake up to the reality of the emperor's mandate. Kai Yiyong finds himself at a crossroads, choosing ambition over comfort, as the families align their fates with the dangerous path north. As the news spreads, Xiao Hanzheng prepares for the inevitable. He realizes the emperor's move is a grand filter, designed to separate the loyal from the treacherous, and he readies his household for the long journey ahead. Reflecting on the web of spies and loyalists, Shi Qingluo questions the roots of the empire's strife. The weight of history is heavy, and they are now stepping directly into the heart of the storm. An unlikely alliance forms. Zhuo Jun arrives at the residence, setting aside pride to forge a pact. In this house of secrets, they seek common ground against a darkness that threatens them all. Safety is paramount, and it arrives in the form of a loyal guardian. With the goose on patrol, the trio can speak freely, shielded from the ears of those who lurk in the dark, waiting for a slip of the tongue. They map out the strategy, a dance of shadows and truth. Zhuo Jun shares the dangers of the northern border, warning of the snares and honey traps that King Jin favors to break his opponents. As the meeting concludes, the resolve is set. They are not merely heading north to survive. They are going to dismantle the web that King Jin has woven, ready to face whatever fate awaits them in the cold, distant lands.